Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back again with another episode of the Authority Project. This is Brian S. Arnold here, and I'm here with my brand new friend here, Jeff Lopes, and he's here, he says, to help us learn the key to crushing your business as an entrepreneurial dad. Is that right, Jeff?
Yeah, buddy. First off, Brian, thank you for having me, man. I mean, this is a pleasure being on here it's a holiday here in Toronto, Canada. So I came into the office to spend this time with you, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate being a guest on here. And yeah, man, I mean, it's just entrepreneurial dads. There's a lot of them out there, and a lot of them are not crushing it on both sides the way they should. And that's one of my goals right now, is to help as many entrepreneurial dads level up as an entrepreneur, but level up also as a father and a family man as well.
Awesome. Well, we shall see what he can do for us today. This is going to be a very, very special episode. Don't miss it here. Don't leave that channel. All right. Here we go. Here's the intro. Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of The Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
Yes, it's me, Brian S. Arnold here. We're back with a very special episode here, and it's the Authority Project. You are the project. We want to make sure that you sell more of what you're great at. And I'm just excited to have Jeff on here. I'm honored to have him here, actually. So, how you doing, first of all?
Okay, first off, that was the most epic entrance I've ever had to a podcast. That was like a studio production here. So I'll give you a little clap to that.
Thank you.
Well, I feel pretty special here, but I'm doing absolutely as best I can for the situation life has hit me right now. So I'm just trying to stay positive, and yeah, life has ups and downs, and now I'm going through a little down, but we're trying to stay positive and trying to keep moving forward. That's one thing I always say at the end of my podcast, is keep moving forward. And that's something I've lived by for years, is when life hits you with an unexpected moment, you always have to keep moving forward, because just learn from your past, embrace the past, and just keep moving forward from there on.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go through these very quick three questions before we dive in.
100%.
First of all, tell the people who are watching and listening later who you are personally and then professionally.
Yeah, personally, I'm a husband for almost 18 years. I'm a father to two amazing, super, super active kids. My son just turned 13. My daughter turned 15. And family is everything to me, man. Family is everything to me. Being an entrepreneur is a bonus, I always call it, because I've been an entrepreneur for almost 26 years, and I've always found a way to make money. So making money is not an issue to me. Is making sure I build memories and I have a very balanced, happy life. And the business always comes. The business always works its way out one way or another, right? And it's never perfect. You always have your wins and your losses. As long as I got a little bit more wins and losses, I'm on the right track, and everything else falls in place. And in general, it's just when it comes to the business world, I've been an entrepreneur, like I said, for 26 years. I love building things. I've always been the type where I build, exit. 2006, I started a company called Camorra, and the goal was that company, which is a couple of years, build it up, get rid of it, make a little money on the side. And 15 plus years later, we still got that company, and where we manufacture and design boxing martial art equipment, deal with about 1,800 gyms right across North America. We wholesale, we private license, we customize. And that has been kind of my little cash cow. I mean, that has allowed me to venture into other stuff, where 9 years ago, I built a company called True Blue Homes, and we've built it up year by year. We try to pick up a piece of property every year, a vacation or commercial rentals, and we're up to 9 properties now. So we've done very well with that business, and it's fully a passive income business where it's just all rental income. And then I've always had little ventures here and there. In the last 12 months, I've become a podcast host. I've become a #1 selling author. I've really taken other stuff that I've done over years. I've coached for about 3 years, Brian, and I never charged a penny. I've taken 64 entrepreneurs under my wing over a 3-year span. Never charged a penny, because it was my way of, I've done really well for myself. It was my way of giving back. At the same time, too, it was my way of mastering the craft, learning the craft, because I think there's so many coaches out there that are just coaches. They've never built nothing. They've never done nothing. They never build experience as a coach. So I said, listen, let me build these businesses. Let me prove a proof of concept. And then let me literally learn how to coach. And I did that for 3 years. Some guys just needed help to build a trademark. Some of them needed a business plan. Some of them I built up to 7-8 figure companies. And through this whole process, it's been such a learning experience. And through it all, I built all these testimonials. And now I've kind of switched that into the new venture of my life, which is a man's purpose, where it's helping entrepreneurial dads succeed on both levels as an entrepreneur and as a family man.
Great stuff, man. Now, I think you've just transformed all my questions now. I have to listen to you do that. But here we go. That's okay. Last question before we get into it. What is your daily routine, Jeff?
Oh, I'm very scheduled, man. I am like ADD scheduled, man. I'm up at 4:30 every morning. Okay. Tell everybody all this time. You always hear those entrepreneurs, Brian, that are like, I'm up at 4:30 and I do this. I'm up at 4:30 because I sacrifice myself. I can't stand it. I hate waking up at 4:30. I rub my eyes. I curse half the time. I want to go back to bed. But I realize that I've implied something to my life a little over 11 and a half years ago, maybe a little over 12 now, where I call it the 3 to 7. I try to be home every single day from 3 to 7 p.m. I'm not there today because obviously there's different circumstances happening in my life. We could probably talk a little bit about later, but 3 to 7 p.m. is family time. And I turn off my phone and I'm present. I'm there. I'm present. I'm focused. I have dinner every night with my family. I haven't missed a dinner from Monday to Friday with my family for well over 11 years. And because of that, if I want to be present, but I still want to be successful as an entrepreneur and still run businesses, I have to sacrifice something. So I sacrifice the 4:30 till 9 o'clock and I get as much done as I can in the morning. So the rest of the day is just for podcasts, for meetings, for tidying up things, to deal with my staff. But my majority of my work is done. And work, when I mean work, not only work, but work on myself, filling up my cup, taking care of myself physically, mentally, spiritually, is all done before 9 a.m.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
And then my night schedule is very routine as well. Like I have a very tight schedule. I call it like the bookmarks of your day. The way you wake up, the way you go to bed, finish like a champ, start like a champ. So my night routine is also very scheduled as well. And because of that, it just allows everything else to fill in perfectly during the day, right?
Yeah, that's great stuff. So let's dive into this topic here. But you know what? Let's dive into this topic. The key to crushing your business. I'm not sure if you have a blueprint for that, or if you want me to go through some other questions that I have that's going to dive in more to that. Let's see where you start with the topic.
When it comes to business, I mean, you could be an entrepreneur your whole life, but if you truly don't have a passion for what you're doing, you lose that interest very quickly. Everybody has this great idea, this great goal to create this great business, but if you don't wake up every single day and are excited, and 6 months from now are still excited to be doing that, that business will fizzer away. That energy, that drive, that waking up earlier, or that extra meeting, or that extra phone call will start swiveling away and dying. And then eventually what happens? That business starts being affected. So I always find something you have a true passion for, something that you could figure a purpose around it, and then build a business around it. So you wake up every single day and you have a passion, a purpose to do something every day. And a lot of people are like, oh, my purpose is this business. Like, I'm a strong believer, Brian, that you could have so many different purposes. You could have a purpose to be with your son. You could have a purpose with your wife. You could have a purpose with your business. Make that business one of your purposes, and then figure out how it's going to fit into your schedule, and really, really tone in how it's going to fulfill you, or how you're going to find the passion for it every single day, a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever it is, right? So the first thing if you're talking about blueprint, is just find something you love doing. I mean, it's the simplest thing in the world, right? And then once you find something you love doing, try to find a problem in there. Try to find something that you could solve a solution or provide a product that's going to give a need or a want for somebody else. And then all of a sudden you have a business, right? Simplest things, right? And then from there on, it's just, I'm a strong believer in you never have to reinvent the wheel. A lot of people come in there and spend months and months trying to think of these great ideas. Yeah. Man, there's people that have done that already, man. Find out somebody else that's built this incredible business, find their blueprint, modify it, tweak it, make it your own, and then move forward with it, man.
So that's awesome. I love all of that. I love all of that. I'm so in tune to that. So, but here, let me take you here, Jeff.
Yeah,
you're good at a lot of stuff. I can see that through what you've done, your business that you're doing. I see this with so many people that they just don't know where to begin. Like, they're good at a lot of things, but they feel deep inside that maybe they're not great at that one thing. So when you say that, that this passion thing and so forth, it's like, this is probably a two-part question. Some people have that passion, but they think they're not going to make any money off of that. People aren't going to buy anything for whatever for that. So how do you get to the point where you're actually finding a solution to that problem? I know it's a whole lot in there, but finding a solution to that problem and figuring out what they're great at that can in the moment, because like you said, people are good at a lot of different things. How do you find that great thing?
Oh man, it is a deep question because everybody's gonna be so different with this, right?
Yeah.
And I truly do believe once you do find it, you're gonna know you're there. So that's the first thing, right? But it's I think what you said there is a lot of people, and this is unpacked what you started with, was a lot of people. They have this passion, have this goal, they just don't move on, or they don't start it because I think it's fear.
Yeah.
One simple word is fear, man. And fear is something I talk about a lot, Brian, is fear is something we're not born with. We're not born racist. We're not born with fears. There's so many things that we build up as we grow up. And all these things we build up has to do with our environment. And as a parent, I think it's our responsibility to break these habits, these traits very, very young. And if we as parents, could teach our children not to be racist, to love everyone, to not be scared. Like I do certain tasks or certain things with my kids where every 2 months, COVID has changed it a bit, but in the past, and we're still doing it, every 2 months to 3 months, we find one thing my kids are scared of. And as a family, we conquer it together. And then we actually celebrate the achievement after as a family together. So breaking these fears, and I think a lot of fears are brought from parents, right? You always hear those parents when those thoughts in your head when you're a kid. Your mom screaming, "Don't touch the stove, you're gonna burn your hand. Don't run down the stairs, you're gonna fall." These are all fears. These are all things that keep building. And as we get older, we start really, really taking in the whole social media. And then all of a sudden, we're so scared of putting that post because you're worried about your peers, your friends, your coworkers. What are they gonna say? And it's this whole thing of fear. So I think a lot of people are stopped by fear. So the first advice I give, stop giving a shit what other people think. The moment you can stop caring what other people think, you're going to have that freedom to do whatever you want. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean your first business is going to be successful.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, any entrepreneur has failed. And a lot of them have failed miserably.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're not successful. You take the loss, you'll learn from it, you don't repeat it, and you move on. And never, I always tell people this too, Brian, is never fall in love with something. Because the minute you fall in love with an idea, a product, a plan, and all of a sudden a month goes by, you're not making money. 2 months go by, you're not making money. Maybe you have to not be in love with something. I'm a strong believer. If something's not working, I tweak it, I pivot, or I move on from it. Mm-hmm. And the last advice I'm going to give, just for people to understand if it's not working business-wise, is because you're not asking the right questions. I'm a strong believer in questions. Doesn't matter what business I run, I'm constantly asking the customers their feedback. I'm asking the customers truly what they like, what they don't like, what they want, what they don't want. And you're taking that all. You're not going to take every advice you get, but you're taking the ones that make sense, and you better apply those into your business. The minute you start asking questions and taking that feedback and really making a difference in your company due to that feedback, you're going to see the company slowly start growing in the right direction. And the last advice, if you're in the coaching business or you're in the podcast business, or you're something that you're giving something, you have to realize, I always say 90 to 95% of the stuff you are going to do, it's going to be for free. Take that in right there and understand it. But you're building yourself as a brand. The more you give for free, the more people you impact, the more people you serve, the more your brand will grow. The more your brand will grow, guess what? The Rock, he could put his name on a napkin and people are going to buy millions of those napkins. Yeah. Once you build your brand, the money will come. So don't focus on the money always. Learn when not to be in love with it and ask the right questions. And you're going to be successful no matter what you do.
So I like how you say that, but what if what you feel like you're falling in love with, you feel that is your passion? and then that fails. Then where
If
then
it
where
fails,
are you?
if it fails, because we haven't asked the right questions.
Okay. But
Because
what are
if
those
you get
questions?
feedback from your customers,
Yeah.
what do they like? What do they don't like? How's the product serving them? What would they change in the product? Ask questions. Because if you come up with, I'll give you an example. Like I have one product for my martial art equipment. It's called the Muay Thai pads. They're pads people kick and punch. I went through a period of, we've had the company for 15 and a half years now. I went through a period of 10 years where we changed that design of that product over 17 times. And it was all on customer feedback. I could have even been like, no, I got the greatest product here. It was selling. It was always selling.
Okay.
But I always wanted to make it better.
That's
I always wanted to sell more.
Yeah.
Taking the feedback. If you're a coach, talk to your customers, talk to your clients. If you're a podcast, talk to your listeners. What do you like? What do you don't like? What kind of customers you want to hear? What kind of list? What kind of guests do you want to hear? If I'm a coach, am I serving you right? Am I giving you what you need? If I'm not, what would you need more from me? Ask the questions. And that goes to everything. Honestly, Brian, marriages. Why do in Canada 3 out of 5 marriages end up in divorce? People are dating, they're in love, they're working so hard, they're buying roses, they're buying chocolates, they're trying so hard to win her in or win him in. And then all of a sudden you get married and you're like, I already got her. That's good. I already got him. And then you slow down. And then all of a sudden you have a kid. Guess what? Where's your attention now? And you forget about the one person that brought you there. So me and my wife, every single night, we go for a power walk. When our kids are a little older now, they go to bed, we go for a power walk, 9:30, 9:45 at night. We go for a power walk and we talk 20 minutes. We just talk. How was your day? What could I do to help make this better? Like, have conversations by yourselves. Keep the relationships going. When I talk about asking questions, that goes with everything in life, even your children, everything in life. You have to be able, with mental health, with children, parents are not asking questions. They're not understanding what their children are going through. If they would have an open dialogue and ask questions from day one with their kids, a lot of this mental health and these suicides and these horrible things that are happening in this world, a lot of them would be prevented. Yeah. So ask simple questions, man.
Communication is definitely key.
100%.
So key. So let's get into that. So how did you know that the dad thing was it? Because on the surface, if I was looking at that, I would be like, this might be kind of a gamble. Because, dads, us men, we're rigid. We don't want to give out our feelings. We don't want to do all those kind of things. We're like here, and we'll stick to being quiet and to ourselves. How did you know that you had something there with the dads?
You didn't. It was something, once again, I had a passion for, but I felt there was a big need for it.
Yeah. I
found there was a need for it because there's a lot of dads that are going through situations, a lot of single dads, a lot of dads that have gone through really bad relationships, a lot of dads that are in relationships and they're on the verge of losing that relationship. They don't know how to figure it out. And then a lot of dads that are just really disconnected with their kids. And there's so many stats out there. There's stats that say 90% of the FaceTime you're going to have with your kids, or 80% of the FaceTime you're going to have with your kids is before the age of 18. Like, there's so many stats out there and people are not appreciating that. And I'm looking at my daughter, she just turned 15 and she's a little teenager. And we have this amazing relationship. My daughter's 15 and we'll sit at the dinner table and she'll tell us stuff that most 15-year-old kids will not tell their parents because we've had this open dialogue with her. Okay. She wants to do stuff. I get home, she's like, Dad, let's go for a jog. Dad, we've built this relationship around, as a family, around fitness, around mealtime, that our kids are very open. They have this dialogue. They want to hang out with us. So understanding that I was sitting there watching dads, especially dads, that's my niche, right? I was watching dads. I'm like, a lot of dads are disconnected with their kids. A lot of dads are so focused on building a business, and then all of a sudden they realize their wives are having an affair or their wives are gone and they've lost everything. And a lot of dads are not able to understandably ask a simple question or communicate with their family, and they build that separation and they become numb. They come home and it's just like, boom. Or they say they're present. No, Jeff, I'm home with my kids. I get home and we watched TV last night. Guess what? Their kids on one couch playing Nintendo or video games. That dad's on the other couch on social media or on Clubhouse. Are you really present? When I mean present is turn off the phone. We do, as a family, 1.5 minimal every day of outdoor activity. Monday to Friday, we literally, as a family, I got videos. We have like sprint runs. We go for bike rides. We go for hikes. We do stuff. We try to do something every single day outdoors because especially now that, I mean, in Toronto, Canada, we're on COVID protocol, we're locked and the kids are doing homeschooling. My kids are in front of a computer all day in their room. Man, when I get home, we're like, turn that shit off. Let's go. Let's get outside. Let's do something active. So there's so many layers to it. But in general, I just felt like there was a true need for it. And the more I talk to dads, I realized dads have no issues talking to other dads. I think when it comes to the feelings, when they are in a room with other dads and they know that no one's perfect and I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, we're all learning, we're all growing, and we're okay with that, I think it's a wonderful thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So how do you make sure that you're there for your kids, the scheduling and prioritizing and understanding what they're going through? How do you do that? How does that all work?
You just answered it right there. First thing is scheduling, right? I'm anal. I'm so anal with my schedule. I am so precise with my schedule. My schedules are built every month, a month in advance, and I put my family time, my family events, first thing on my schedule. I call them non-negotiables. I put my non-negotiables in my schedule. They're there. They're locked in. They're not moving. Everything else is built around this schedule. And I look at my schedule, and every single month I study my schedule. I actually study my schedule and I look, okay, if my schedule is too filled, what parts of my schedule I can remove, or be honest, which people in my life that shouldn't be there. I'm always re-cleansing my whole schedule and re-cleansing my life. I do that on a regular basis. And because of that, it allows me to really focus and hone on to what's important. So I focus on my non-negotiables. I slap on my schedule. I block everything in. So if I have an intentional 1 hour meeting, I'm not going over that meeting. It's intentional. If it has to go on to the next day, it is. If that person has an issue with that, move on. Find somebody else to work with. And I feel like that. And as long as I'm honest with people and I'm very open with people understand that. People appreciate that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very, like I said, if I commit to something, like today was a holiday, and I was like, it slipped my mind this, but I committed to it. There's no way I was going to miss it. So if I commit to something that's in my schedule, I'm very, very honest and open, and I'll make sure I actually fulfill my commitments too, right? So schedule is the first thing. And then when it comes to communication, I find dinner time is the best time to have an open relationship. I mean, if parents start this from a very young age, like we started from our kids when we were very small, like dinner time, it was time that everybody's electronics are off. Let's have an open conversation, talk about your day, talk about school. And we were doing this from such a young age that it got to the point that all of a sudden now at our kids are 13 and 15, and they were literally, they're still having this open conversation with us because we've done it for such a long time, right?
Yeah. Communication. That's good.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it. So let's talk about if you're like a divorced dad, where you're not in the home, how you can still be present with your kids in that, right? And still, and obviously in those situations, you're divorced, you're trying to maintain some kind of financial peace yourself. So you're still scrambling and all these kind of things. How do you do that and still show love to your kids in that way?
Really tone in on there's a few things. One, and this doesn't mean they have to be divorced. They could be every parent should be following this, but one is building up proper memories with your kids, right? So as a dad, if you're divorced and you only have your kids once a month or once every 2 weeks, that 1 or 2 days or that weekend you have your kids, or if you're part-time, whatever, when you do have your kids, make sure you're present. Turn off the damn phone. Do stuff with them. Build memories. Don't just sit at home. Like, go for a walk with them. Go for a bike ride with them. Take them somewhere. Build memories with them. Not buy presents with them. A lot of dads will try to be like, okay, they got their kids for the weekend and be like, okay, guys, you can do whatever you want. I want to be the cool dad. Whatever you want me to buy you. Because they know they don't have a shortage period. They want to keep them as happy as you can. That's the pure opposite. You should be trying to keep them happy by building memories. Because realistically, kids don't want presents. As much as parents say kids want presents, a kid, when they get a present, is because they are happy at that moment because they realize that their parent is acknowledging them, rewarding them. So that is that initial. That present is garbage after a week or a couple of days. But if you take them out instead and say, you got your daughter? Okay, let's go do our nails. Let's go have lunch together. Let's build these memories. She's going to have those the rest of her life. Take photos together, do stuff together. She's going to have memories the rest of her life. So the first is whatever time you do have with them, make it present. So figure out your schedule. So when you are not with them, you're doing all your work, you're taking care of yourself, you're focusing on yourself, you're building up yourself. But when you're with your kids, that 2 days, you're 100% present and you're focused on them. That's first off. So you build up much memories as possible. And then in general, I mean, I tell dads this all the time. This is something I do with my kids is every 8 weeks, I call it extended birthday. Every single 8 weeks, I take my kids. Obviously, like I said, 2020 has been a little different with COVID, with schooling. But I would take my kids separate. I would take my daughter one day out of school, and we spend the whole day together every 8 weeks. I put on the calendar. They're looking forward to that day, and that's her day. Let's go do your nails. Let's go for lunch. Let's go shop. Whatever you want to do, we're going to spend the whole day doing it. Awesome. And then I do the same for my son. You want to let's go to batting cage, let's go play baseball, whatever you want. That whole day is 100% your day to do whatever you want. We do it every 8 weeks, and we build these memories up. And one day when I'm not here, those memory banks are going to be filled. Yeah. Filled because, and on top of it, I'm a strong believer in building memories and recording them. What I mean by that is we take shitloads of pictures as a family and we develop all our pictures. And that's in my book. We develop. You mean every road trip, everything we've ever done, we develop and we make actual full out albums. How many times on a Sunday afternoon, my kids are in their bedroom on the floor going through old albums and just laughing and joking, remembering. Those photos are so precious. The smell, the texture of a photo, an old photo. A lot of people have everything. It's on the cloud. It's on my phone. What do I have to print out? Right. Who the hell's looking on their phone with their family around? Right. But if you develop them, put them on the coffee table, we're going to look at them. People are going to look at these memories. Look at your road trips. Develop photos, man. Develop.
I love that, man. That is amazing. What you memories. That's perfect, brother. That is perfect.
You know what, too, Brian, is and I know I'm over talking here. Like for the listeners, my father just passed away, and he was my best friend. Like I literally could honestly say he was my best friend. Like I talked to my dad 2 to 3 times a day. I'm 44. Like I would visit him as much as I can. I was always there for him. I could honestly say I was a really, really good son. And I was always there, and I lived with zero regrets. I tried to spend as much time as I could with him, but you still have regrets. You still miss him. You still feel like there was so much more to do with him. Yeah. And now all I have is memories, and we did build a lot of memories. We went to cars, so we did so many memories. So my kids, I want to fill them with so many memories that one day when I'm gone, they're telling their kids about those memories. They're telling their grandkids about those memories. And then on top of it, they're going to have recollection because they could go through albums and look at photos and look at there's grandpa. So develop photos and build memories, man. Presents are complete shit, man. They come and go, man. Presents twice a year, birthday, Christmas, give them a little present, but everything else is just building memories with them.
Was your dad the one that really inspired
100%.
This? Yeah.
100%. There's so many things I've took from my dad. My dad was a blue collar, hard worker, Ford Motors, for 30 years, 2 weeks day, 2 weeks night, 2 weeks a month. I would barely see my dad, but weekends, always present. Evenings when he was working days, always present. All my sporting events, always present. And every summer he would put all his vacation and put him in a block off 4 weeks. And we're from Toronto, Canada. Where were you from? We would drive up to Cape Cod, rent a little cottage by the beach, and spend 3 to 4 weeks every summer, every single summer. Those road trips, and I love road trips, buddy. We do 2 road trips every single year with the family. Obviously, COVID once again stopped that this last year, but every year we do 2 road trips. I do with my family now, and that was memories from my dad building the road trips. And as crazy as I got older, I started realizing that my dad wasn't wealthy, but he really understood the importance of how wealth equaled freedom. Money was just a vehicle for freedom. And a lot of people don't understand that. Because my dad could have worked at Ford Motors back then. He was making like 30 something bucks an hour. This is like years ago. That was huge money. Yeah. If you worked overtime or time and a half, that was triple time, buddy. My dad could have worked a Saturday and made fucking 60 bucks an hour. Not a problem. But instead he said, you know what? I made enough this week. I'd rather be at home with the family on the weekend. I want to build memories. I used to go to the park with my dad. Built so many memories with us and took so many photos with us. And man, those are priceless, man. I mean, he passed, and we're just going through albums, going through memories, and it's like we had so many awesome memories with my dad. He was always there for us, always present. Such a good man, and that is just something that I strive to be, like even half the man he was, right? And I try that every day, and I work my ass off, and I strongly, truly believe as men, we can have such an impact on our children's lives. And I think a lot of us just build and focus on thinking that we have to have, we need to be these providers financially. And that's all we are for. We got to work, and make sure my kid's school is paid for. Work, make sure my kid's wedding is paid for. Those are important. Those are important.
Yeah.
You know what? That means nothing if you don't have no memories. And all of a sudden you're in your early 50s or late 40s and you pass away. And all of a sudden you're left with nothing there. No memories there. So build the memories up and spend time with your family and appreciate your family, man. Because life changes in seconds, man. And try to live with zero regrets, man. Try to live with zero regrets.
And I like how you're taking the lead to that, because I can just imagine that most dads are like, well, the mother will take care of that. Let the mother do this. Let the wife handle that. She'll do this, that, and the other. And what do you say to that, as far as like thinking that, I'm taking care of the, this part of it, I'm the man, I'm responsible for the money, put it in the house, and the wife will take care of the kids, that kind of thing. What do you say to that?
There's two sides of looking at it. I mean, my relationship's a little different than I guess maybe some people. My wife's very independent, and I appreciate that. I've been married for 18 years. We don't have a bank account together. She has her bills. I got my bills. Right. We have a very open understanding. We never argue about money. And we have an understanding that our responsibility as parents from day one is both our responsibility. Yeah. If I got to cook, I'll cook. If I got to make the bed, I'll make the bed. When I got to pick up the kids, I'll pick up the kids. When I get driving to school, we have that understanding that it's an equal joint venture. And I saw that from my dad, and that's something. My dad was a European, and no matter what, coming to Toronto, Canada, it didn't matter. My dad would always be helping my mom, cooking, cleaning, doing stuff around the house, being very, very active. And because of that, those are lessons I learned. I watched my dad being so active as a father. And I think dads really have to understand and apply that into their lives as well, right? Brian, I can't hear you right now. Your mic's off.
Oh, sorry. Here we go. Here we go. I'm sorry. I was about to go really deep into it. So that's just perfect, though. I think that's amazing, man. And I think your story and your inspiration really should, give some people some inspiration of what they can do with their story, right? So, like, you can tell that your thing with the dads it's inspired by, what you were brought up with. How can we now, with people who don't think that, they have a story, that don't think there's anything that they can come up with their story, how do we get them out of that? How to get them out of that mode that they do have something to tell?
God, everybody has a story, man. Just embrace your story, man. And like, I have different other avenues of things that we've been through as a family, and with my son and everything like that, with his difficulties. But when I look at us as a story, like, a lot of people have these stories with their dads, and they had a really rough childhood, and now they want to be the perfect dad because they didn't have the perfect dads. They have these powerful stories.
Yeah.
And I don't have a powerful story. I had a great childhood. So I've turned a positive and continue that positive. So your story, whether it's positive or negative, embrace your story, understand your story, study your story, and never shy away from being proud of your story, being proud of who you are, where you come from, and what you've done. And the minute you can embrace that and learn and love your story, and I say love yourself too, right? Because a lot of people, they go through life being servers, and they're constantly serving other people, and they never really serve themselves, and they never really take the time to love themselves and take kind to themselves. So, I mean, that's another thing too, which is really, I really focus on myself too, right? Mm-hmm. I make sure mentally, spiritually, physically, I'm at my peak at all times, and I take care of myself. And like Oprah said, like, my cup's always full, and I make sure my cup is always full for myself, because if I'm full, I'm able to serve everybody else. So I think a lot of thing about dads too is sometimes you have to really understand that you have to take care of yourself as well, right? Because if you feel like your story or your presence or what you're doing is not valid, that's bullshit. That is valid. And second, make sure that you are truly happy with yourself. And when you're truly happy with yourself and feel fulfilled, you're able to serve a lot more people that way.
Awesome. That's awesome stuff. I got two more questions for you, man. This has been amazing having you on here, man. I just love it. So tell us, Jeff, what's your legacy impact that you want to leave with the world at large? Like, how do you want to change the world before it's all said and done?
Oh God, there's so many different layers to that, right? I mean, as a dad, I just want my kids to one day say, you know what, he was always here for me, man. That is the simplest thing. He was always here for me. And be honest, as a friend, as a boss, as a son, as a brother. I mean, I want everybody around me that I truly love to understand that and have that moment of reflection that one day when I'm not here, they can say, you know what, no matter what, he was always here for me. Simple, sweet. And then when it comes to businesses, I mean, there's so many things we do. Like I do a lot of charity work for Sick Kids Hospital that had a huge part of my son's upbringing. I also, I mean, I want to be able to impact and help thousands of entrepreneurial dads become millionaires. I have so many different goals I want to do right now. And in general, just serve and help as many people as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can, right? And the same time too, it just feel fulfilled for myself too. I mean, through the impact, I want to be able to one day when it is my time, I could close my eyes and say, you know what, like I've left everything on the table. I did everything I ever truly wanted. And be honest, with the passing of my father, it just even opened my eyes even more to that, where now I'm looking at so many things on a personal level that I've put aside for years because I'm always trying to serve and help everybody else. I'm going to be a little selfish now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be a little selfish and little stuff like I'm going to do. I've signed up for a technical driving course. It's like Jason Bourne driving course. Kind of like these are things I've always been talking about. I'm like, you know what? I've always wanted to do guitar lessons. I've actually now set up for guitar. I'm like I'm going to take a little time for myself for the rest of the year and put in my schedule here or there little slots that really fulfill me and really take care of myself a bit and really give me some purpose as well, because I've always been for years and years serving. And it's nice once in a while just do something for yourself as well, right? And not feel guilty about it. Feel good about it.
Yeah, I love it. That's amazing. That's perfect, man. So one last question. Yeah. And because your niche is so nichey, I'm just gonna put it to you this way. My last question I asked all my guests goes something like this. The people who are watching you now, but listening to you later, they'll have similar goals, similar interests, maybe similar journeys, and they want to help others become an authority in their space. Can you tell us in your own words how they can do the same thing, how they can become an authority in what they're doing in their space?
I mean, hone your craft, right? Study, hone your craft, really take in your craft and become a master at it. I think a lot of people really don't become a master at something and they want to teach it to somebody else. So really hone your craft, become a master at it, study it, really learn it. And once you feel you are comfortable enough to be able to pass those lessons along, at that point, you just have to get in front of as many people as you can. You need to build a community around what you believe in and build that community around to the point where that community truly understands and listens and wants to be part of what you're doing. That's another thing. And then the last thing is building yourself as a brand. I mean, I'm a true believer in the minute you can build yourself as a brand, everything else will come aligned. So really hone your craft, master your craft, start building a community around what you know and what you want to teach, and then really start toning in and focusing on building yourself as a brand. So now you become a brand authority. And when you talk, people are going to listen because they actually obviously have mastered the craft. So those are the three things I would really teach people to do and really tone in on that area.
Amazing. This is great stuff, man. Oh, this is great stuff. I'm so glad to get you on here. I'm sorry you're past your work time, but I'm so honored to have you on here. Please tell people where they can find you after the show, Jeff.
Yeah, so I'm on all the social media platforms. IG, Instagram is the one I'm most present on. So you can hit me at there is at Jeff Lopes, JFFLOPS. And right on the screen there, Jeffrey Lopes. If you guys are an entrepreneurial dad and just want to be part of a really, really cool community that's really growing rapidly, that's literally cost of a coffee. When I'm talking about cost of a coffee, we do live coaching once a week. We have a program called On Track program where I hold you accountable once a week to all your goals. Plus, we have a reflection journal once a week, and it's all for $47 Canadian a month, 35 US a month, and you're getting coached once a week. And I'm present coaching, and anybody that's been through it, absolutely, the feedback's been incredible. So we're always trying to build a community. We want to build it as big and as quick as we possibly can, because I think I want to serve as many people as we can and impact as many people as we can.
I think that's incredible. I think that's an amazing community, man. Hey guys, don't sleep on Jeff Lopes, okay? Don't sleep on this guy. This guy is the real deal. Get to know him, follow him, get in touch with him. He's open, and I'm sure he just wants to help people. Just be the balanced person that you need to be. So I have nothing else to say about that, unless you have any final words. I am so full right now. I'm just so good. I'm just so good.
I just want to say thank you, man. I mean, our connection started probably about 3-4 months ago. Yeah. And I just saw you, I'm like, this looks like a really great show, and I just wanted to be on. And I reached out to you, and time flies by, and things change, and I'm so glad we connected. And your energy is obviously very positive, and what you're doing is very positive. So I obviously want to keep connected with you and see where our futures grow together. But I just want to say thank you for this, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate your platform.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And I'm good. Everybody, listen, as I always say, build it, share it, and they will come. We'll see you next time. We're out.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway, or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.